Good evening. What a crowd. What a crowd. My name is Mike Anderson, and contrary to the cover of the Eugene Weekly, I am not the Mad Viking. Slight error, but we appreciate the publicity. So, introducing the real Mad Viking, Jesse Wells, behind me. And I am Mike Anderson. As a young man, I caused my parents a lot of worry. When my mother passed away in 1991, I found among her things a box of old letters that I had written to her while I was away in the Army. While stationed on the island of Okinawa at the age of 21, I had volunteered for Army Airborne Parachute School. Here is a story I told in a letter to my mother 43 years ago. Dear Mom, don't get upset by what I write next, but I had a close call on my last parachute jump. Everything worked out okay though, and I'm looking forward to better luck on the next one. I jumped a week ago. I was number one man in the door of 10 men jumping out of 2 doors. We had full combat equipment on, which amounted to a rucksack full of weights tied between my legs, suspended in front of my harness, and a rifle strapped to my leg. It was really beautiful standing in the door for about 3 minutes while I waited for the go command. Imagine standing there looking out over the ocean, then coming in over land, crossing 100-foot high cliffs, waves breaking over them, and then green valleys, farms, and villages. And all the time just standing on a metal ramp, holding on to the doorway, feeling the wind rush by at 130 miles per hour, listening to the engines roar. It was really beautiful and calm. It gave me the idea I ought to take flying lessons next, since they are inexpensive through the Army. Anyway, the go command came and I jumped out, counting to 4,000. We count 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4. If we don't feel the parachute open by 6,000 to 7,000, we pull our reserve. By 10,000, it's too late. They send you home in a plastic bag. A total malfunction like that only happens rarely. In fact, partial malfunctions, which seem common, only happen about 2 times out of every 1,000 jumps. Well, mine jerked open just right, and then I looked up to check and make sure it had inflated properly. Then I heard a guy screaming, the most awful scream I have ever heard. I looked around and saw him falling with his parachute only partially inflated. He had what is called a Mae West, because one of the risers or suspension lines crosses over the chute, divides it in half, looking like a giant 35-foot brassiere up there in the sky. He panicked and waved his arms in the air instead of going for his reserve. It did not come out right, and he had to pull it out by hand. You should have seen him pulling it out. I swear he pulled it out faster by hand than they come out by themselves. Then all of a sudden, I felt my parachute lurch and collapse. I looked up and saw that another jumper had collided with me at about 800-foot elevation. He had actually gotten inside of my lines like a prisoner in a rope cage. We spiraled down toward the ground, and I kept shouting at him to slip away. He said he couldn't get loose. Now, in a case like that, the jumper below has the right of way. He made the mistake by not watching me, but we were both watching the guy fall. Anyhow, they teach you what to do in school. The jumper on top is supposed to climb down your lines until he is even with you, and when you hit, you roll in opposite directions. Well, I had that big rucksack between my legs. I couldn't have done much at all with that, so I tried getting loose. It was stuck. But about 100 feet off the ground, I finally cut it loose. Then somehow, the other guy got all the way through my parachute out the other side. Both of our chutes got enough air. We hit the ground hard, but safely. I was a little shook up, but not too bad. It's funny how I felt. It's the only time in my life that I felt for sure I was going to die and had just about 10 seconds left. But I felt calm. My attitude was, oh well, you gotta go sometime. How could I feel that way? That scares me. I was too calm. In fact, I seem to remember giving a slight laugh when I couldn't get my rucksack untied. But coming close like that and still feeling calm and somehow safe, dreamlike, I cannot be scared to jump again. Maybe when I get in the doorway again, I'll tense up or chicken out. But right now, I feel like jumping anytime. Now, as if this story wasn't enough to cause my mom to hyperventilate, I added these words. Like I said, Mom, don't worry.